Welcome to another Human First AI Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest is Burton Kelso, Chief Technology Expert at Integral. He's a two-time TEDx speaker and expert on cybersecurity, AI, social media marketing, and all things tech. He's been on, TV, radio, anywhere you can have an expert on TV, as well as a keynote speaker. If you want to find him, go to burtonkelso.com. All right, Burton, let's jump into it. First, with the human side of things. It's called the Human First AI Marketing Podcast. We got to talk about you as a human. You're a fun personality and everything, and I found in the tech space that sometimes those things don't go together. How did a fun guy like you become a tech expert?
Well, I think it boiled down to me just being able to help people out. Obviously, 31 years in, and I still find that everyday people struggle with technology. It moves so quickly, and it's really hard to get a grasp on what's going on in the tech world, which devices you should go with, internet provider, software, you name it. It's always confusing. And the challenge is to be able to find an ally who's able to sit down with you and help you figure out what's going on in the technology world and to help you navigate this digital maze that we're all in, as far as making sure that all our devices are safe, fun, and easy to use. And the biggest challenge is most people that gravitate towards technology just rather work with the technology rather than working with people. And so you have this disconnect that happens between IT professionals and the average person who, in the end, all they want to do is to have it work. They don't care about the ins and outs and all the acronyms and all that other gibberish. They don't care about the noise. They just want someone who's able to sit down, tell them this is what you need to do, and they take care of the rest.
Yeah, I love that. I had a IT guy tell me one time, he's like, people just want computer to go blinky blinky, and they get mad when it doesn't, but sometimes you got to think about the strategies for this. And so that's why I'm really excited to jump in and dive deep with you today, because I think you use the term people centric. I use human first, but it is a tough challenge to have people take the time to understand why you're rolling things out, specifically around cybersecurity, but also around AI. Like, they either want this cool tool and they don't understand the privacy implications, or they're like, I don't want to learn a new tool, and you're trying to upgrade their productivity. It's a tough challenge when you think about what to roll out and when. How do you make decisions like that?
Well, I think part of it is that you've got to find an ally that's able to sit down and talk with you. As people, we automatically think that we should know technology coming out of the womb. People assume that kids just are born with the smartphone or tablet in their hand and they just know how to work this stuff. But kids are
I think we wait at least 10 months now.
Right.
Before we
Kids are fearless. They don't care. They just hit buttons, and if it does something great, if it doesn't, then oh well, they're not responsible. But most adults have actually made the investment of a technology device that is $500 or more. So we tend to be a little bit more cautious when that's concerned. And obviously there's always that fear factor that if we click the wrong thing, we're going to get hacked, or if we touch the wrong area of the screen, your device is going to blow up. So it's really important that you have to just align yourself with tech people that are able to talk in everyday terms. And that in itself is a challenge, because most tech guys were raised in an era where they were ostracized for getting into that nerdy, geeky kind of environment. And all they know is the nerdy, geeky talk, and don't really know how to relate to everyday folks when it comes to just having it work. Because a lot of tech people think that the average person wants to know the ins and outs of technology devices. And again, people just want it to work. Or as you said, Mike, blinky, blinky.
Yeah, I like that one. I want to ask you about cybersecurity here, because I feel like this is a big one that, again, can kind of go either way. And I have another expert coming on the podcast here shortly about the amount of robots and tech and agents out there. I there's some estimates that over 50% of web traffic now are some sort of bot or AI agent and stuff. But I got to imagine for large companies, and even now, hopefully medium-sized companies, the security implications of AI have to be important. Is that fair?
Well, Mike, I think what a lot of people miss, and even IT guys don't bring this up, but cybercrime is a human problem, meaning that you've got the problem of the criminals creating socially engineered attacks. But more importantly, you have people that are the cause of their attacks, because every device that we all own, whether it be a smartphone, a tablet, computer, laptop, home, smart cam, home defense, it all is people oriented. And to be honest with you, all of them are unhackable in the sense that someone's just not going to be able to reach out on the internet and get into your phone or your tablet or even your computer. That's why you've seen a rise of socially engineered attacks that require user interaction in order to get into your device. And that's where most people fall victim, is that they don't build up their personal firewalls in order to make sure that they read and verify those phishing emails or text messages that come in, rather than just reacting to the message that comes in. Like if yours a overcharge on your credit, you're gonna oh gosh, what do I need to do? Call and do whatever the criminal on the other end is going to want you to do. Or if you get a phishing email that's asking for pertinent information and it looks like a legitimate email, you're just going to fall victim to it. And the problem is, Mike, is that even large companies suffer from this human problem of cybercrime. Mm-hmm. If you look at the Las Vegas hack of last year, it was all about someone clicking on an email that allowed the criminals to, actually, let me take a step back. This wasn't even an email. This was voice cloning. So someone cloned.
Well, that's what I was going to say about AI. It's gotten really good. They can learn more about you. They can fake your child's voice or your parents' voice or your boss's voice.
Right.
Say,
but you still have to respond to that. You still have to respond to that message or a phone call that comes in. And that's what happened in Vegas at the MGM Grand. And someone's, oh yeah, let me just go ahead and give out these passwords over the phone. That's a big no-no. But it all boils down. Cybercrime could be solved if we'd help more people build up their personal firewalls to keep safe from these cyber attacks. And people will say, well, you're an IT person. Obviously, it comes second nature to you. Well, not really, because MoneyGram got hacked this summer. And guess which department they attacked with this socially engineered attack? It was the IT department. So everyone needs to work on building up their firewall and to beware of these socially engineered attacks, because every device, you remember that every device you own, someone's just going to not just get into it. You've got to make sure you're not clicking on stuff and falling for these AI socially engineered scams.
Yeah, I want to ask you more about that. I think in the world where it's getting harder and harder to tell, or at least there's a new evolution with AI, how you developed your personal firewall, or what some tips would be, because I think, at least for me, like, hey, I'm a younger Gen Xer, where it's like I can spot email spam from a mile away, right? We've all seen tens of thousands of emails. You can tell by the subject line whether this is coming from a company or one of your friends. Humans are generally lazy. They use a lot less words and a lot less punctuation and stuff than marketers, spammers, or robots. But when it comes to, a telephone phishing attempt, or a really good kind of spoofed website or something, I think it becomes harder to tell. So what are your kind of telltale signs, or what do you do to protect yourself?
Well, for starters, I really don't answer my cell phone.
Nobody does. Yeah.
Seriously, if someone wants to reach you, they're gonna. Well, you can't rely on text, because it's not going to be a vague text. Not the call me text, because I'm going to be like, I'm not calling you. You need to tell me what's going on. And more people need to get into that mindset. Same thing with voice calls. I mean, if you get a call from an unknown number, let it go to voicemail, because if someone really wants to reach you, they're going to leave you a voicemail message. Now, if it's a scammer, they're just going to move on to the next number because it's a numbers game and they're really not concerned about getting you to call them back. So, I mean, that's the first thing. Next thing is people need to stop giving out their mobile number. We're in a day and age now, your mobile number should only be given out to close family and close friends. I mean, if you're just reading a random stranger at a networking event and you don't want your phone number to be part of the collective, then set up a Google Voice or WhatsApp phone number or use a voice over IP service where you have a professional number that you can give out to somebody that allows you to send back text messages and then just keep your mobile phone number safe. Same thing with email. Just quit giving out your email and have a public email that you would use that you can kind of keep yourself away from all of those spam messages. But again, it's about just making sure that you stay vigilant in these messages that come in. Just scrutinize it and make sure that when you receive a phone call, when you receive a message, verify it's a legitimate source rather than just react to the phone call that came in.
I think those are great tips and some things that we can really control easily on our own side is having a number that we use when we're filling out web forms and stuff like that, and a different email that we use for spam and signups and things that we do for personal and bank accounts. Certainly the same with passwords, right? We've been telling people that for years, but they still use the same password on everything.
Right. But Mike, the good thing about passwords is that's starting to become a passing fad, no pun intended. There's two different things that you can do to keep safe from passwords. So number one would be to use passphrases as opposed to passwords. And there is a website called, oh goodness gracious, it's Bitwarden. It's bitwarden.com/ like password manager. And you can go to Bitwarden's website and it will help you come up with a passphrase, which is two unrelated words that create a strong password. Like maybe you would want to come up with pinstripe rock or orange. I can't say orange, but orange desk or something along that lines of two items that are unrelated, because passphrases are stronger than passwords, and it'll take centuries to break a passphrase as opposed to just your standard password. And if you go to Bitwarden's website, you can put in like an 8-character passphrase and it'll say, well, yeah, someone can crack that in about 3 hours and then you're toast. So passphrases is the way to go. And Mike, the wave of the future is passkeys. Now, passkeys use biometrics. So Google, Apple, and Microsoft allow you to set up passkeys. So it's either a fingerprint or your eyeball or facial recognition that allows you to log into not only your device, but also into specific websites when you're using passkeys. And with biometrics, it's really hard to duplicate a fingerprint or your face. So that's why we're headed in that direction as far as keeping accounts safe.
Yeah, I like the biometrics a lot better than even the two-factor authentication, which is just annoying. I'm a little dyslexic, so if you send me 6 to 8 numbers in a row and I have to retype them somewhere, it's going to take me a try or two. But it's fascinating. I want to ask you more about AI here and flip to the positive. So far we've been talking about some of the dangers, but what are some of the fun uses of AI that you've been seeing in your business and with your clients?
Oh, image creation is awesome because I put out a weekly blog. And of course, every blog post needs to have images. So rather than going to one of those the royalty-free image sites that sometimes aren't royalty-free images that they upload, you can just generate your own with AI. And a lot of people go with ChatGPT. But Mike, I would highly recommend, if you're into image creation and you just want to play around with it, you don't have to pay for Midjourney. In fact, 2 free tools out there, Meta AI and Microsoft Copilot, do an awesome job as far as generating images. And your prompts don't have to be as robust as you would with, like, say, content. But you say, hey, I need a picture of Superman flying across the skies of Metropolis, and it'll generate it for you. Now, one of the great things, if you're into images and you kind of want to go in that video route, Meta AI will not only allow you to generate an image, you can also animate that image too. It'll turn it into a GIF or a GIF or however you put it. And I mean, it's just spectacular. And when you generate images with Meta, you get 4 images that you can choose from. And it just makes the process a lot better. But I think as far as AI as another positive, it really helps fuel the human machine when it comes to coming up with both content and images and somewhat video. So it just, especially as a small business owner, I mean, you got everything at your fingertips as far as how to create any type of document or any type of image for your business. I mean, who would have thought that that would be possible? I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, well, that's why I started Avenue 9, and what I help companies do for their marketing is think about that content creation in a world where the variable cost of content is essentially zero. We can go to Meta AI and make any image or make any blog post or make any book title, even video that we want. The question then kind of becomes, what do we want to create and how innovative can we do it, and what's the marketing strategy behind it, and stuff, because it is really fun to have these creation tools. And I know you're a thought leader and somebody that likes to speak and write and create a bunch of stuff, so I'm interested in some of your favorite prompts or ways that you use AI to help you create stuff.
Well, the biggest thing for me when coming up with prompts is making sure that when you talk to whatever AI chatbot you use, that you talk to it like a human, because it helps loosen up the conversation when you're generating your AI prompts. If you're in a Google mindset, then you're not going to get the content that you want. And in fact, I read somewhere, and I think it may have been with Google Gemini, that says that the average prompt is about 9 words, when in reality, the average prompt needs to be at least 21 words or longer. And people don't really get that because we're still in the infancy of generative AI, and people are still of that mindset of Google, where, hey, I want to read about Napoleon Bonaparte, or hey, I need to see some samples of a business plan or a marketing plan, or I need social media posts. It's just quick and dirty, and it's not that. You really have to cater that prompt so that the AI chatbot understands exactly what it is that you want, and then you'll get the content and the images that you want.
Yeah, I agree. I am always kind to our future AI overlords, so I use please and thank you in full sentences. Number two is I found that you can give it more context than we ever have with search engines before. So yeah, like you said, if you just ask it to write a marketing plan, it's going to be pretty bad. If you say write a marketing plan for a cybersecurity firm calling on small to medium sized businesses, it's going to be a little bit better. But if you give it even your website and all the context and your unique value proposition, and you put in all of your unique context first, and then you say write a marketing plan to accomplish X goal, now you're getting into some really great stuff. And what it spits out is really great.
What I think is funny is that when I do AI presentations, I ask the audience if they ever watch Star Trek. Even at 1966 Star Trek, I'm like, if you start watching how they interact with the computers on the Enterprise and some of the other ships in the Star Trek universe, then you will begin to understand how you need to converse with AI. Because in Star Wars, they don't. Well, if you consider R2D2 and C3PO AI, then
Right.
maybe you get a little bit of it. But in the Star Trek universe, it's mainly just the screen you're talking to, and they talk to it just like they would a person. They address it as computer. It's like, well, yeah, you need to address it as your chatbot and tell it in detail what you want, and you're going to get the exact results of what you asked for.
That's a fun one. I came up with a whole bunch of ideas for me. Yeah, it is interesting that in Star Wars, the droids have more AI and conversational abilities, but the computer is still manually controlled. But in Star Trek, you can talk to the computer in sort of a medium way, but it's not necessarily like sentient
Yeah,
artificial
exactly.
intelligence.
And I think that's good, because I think, if you look at Star Trek, the AI in Star Trek is sentient. I mean, all you have to do is listen to a conversation with C3PO, and I mean,
Yeah.
you're getting a mix of emotions from this. I don't know, how would you describe that droid? Is he, I guess, nervous? would be.
Yeah, and he has emotions and
Yeah,
everything. I got a
emotional.
R2D2 back here behind me
Whereas
somewhere.
it's so great.
But
It's just the screen. You just say, hey, this is what I need. And like, okay, here you go. No emotion, just cut and dry. And that's closer to the generative AI we work with in our day-to-day lives today.
yeah, what I think is fascinating, and well, two things on sci-fi. Number one is, I don't know why, like, it seems like humanity sees these as aspirational outcomes. We have people trying to rebuild like Terminator 2 liquid robots and like HAL from 2001. Like, no, we're trying to not do this. I
Right.
don't know. The Matrix, like Zuckerberg's trying to put everybody into the Matrix.
I
And we're
know.
like, what? This was not aspirational.
I
This was
know.
the warning about technology. But two, I think it's interesting that they couldn't necessarily see the future of how it would work. So when you think about like the Jetsons flying cars and stuff, it goes, turns out we have flying cars, but they're helicopters. They're really loud, noisy, and dangerous. So it's better if we just do, self-driving cars on the ground. Or even with like the holodeck on Star Trek is way more complicated than the computer that they're using to fly and fight with and stuff. Turns out that that's way more difficult than we would think.
Yeah, that's it's definitely true. But I think one of the best things about AI is that, like the internet, it's the great equator, meaning that regardless of your economic level, if you get access to the internet and get access to an AI chatbot, I mean the sky's the limit. I mean, I think that's the one
Yeah.
of the best things for it. If you're a parent that homeschools, let's say that maybe you can't afford to go to higher education. I mean, it's right there. And the good thing about it is, we always get into those, what I call the Google arguments, when you're trying to prove that you're right and the other person's wrong. You don't necessarily have to go to 12 Google pages to find the information that you want. You just put in the right AI prompt and it'll give you the best answer. And I am glad sites like Google and chatbots like Perplexity are allowing us not only to generate content, but we also can find whatever resources we want whenever it comes to any topic out there.
I love that idea of the equalizer. I keep saying it's kind of democratized marketing, especially because, 2 years ago, even a $1 or $10 million company couldn't compete with $100 million company's marketing budget and the resources they had for ghostwriters and videographers and all that kind of stuff. But now, I mean, it's an equal playing field. We're all learning AI at the same speed. If you can learn faster, if you can use these tools, they're like $20 a month. Go sign up, practice, and get yourself a competitive advantage. Or like you said, even if it's personal education and stuff, you want to learn about anything or make anything, you can do it. It's up to you to take the steps to go do it and build it. So that's amazing.
I had someone reach out to me recently asking they needed to do a business plan. And, I kind of get impatient at that stuff, especially in the AI age. It's like, go to ChatGPT and create one. And they're like, I don't know what this is. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. You can't investigate and look at AI. I can't help you out. I mean, I just don't have the time to sit down and do that. I mean, it's just amazing all the resources that AI in its current form can give to you. I mean, of course, it'll reach its plateau once we get into more video creation content with sites like Sora, and I forget there's another one out there that can animate static image and make it a video AI image. But I mean, yeah, it's just like it's all there. But Mike, the good thing is, and really love the name of your podcast, is that there's still room for the human element, because AI is not the creator. It's the human element that's driving the creation of AI for you to generate what you want, which allows you to take whatever idea you started with to the next level.
Well, since you have all those superhero characters behind you, I'll have to tell you my superhero analogy too, but I'm hitting all my usual talk tracks. I like thinking about Iron Man, not Terminator. So we want to be Tony Stark. We want to wrap ourselves in technology and have Jarvis talking to us and giving us information we wouldn't have or that we can't comprehend, the amount of data. We need AI to help us process that and pull out insights and stuff, but we're not trying to build this autonomous AI Terminator robot to go out and do jobs for us, right? That just it can work in some small cases or specific use cases, but it's generally not the best practice. The best practice is human with tech. Get the best outcomes for now. But I did want to ask you about the future before we get out of here. And I think the future of work is like you said, you got to jump into AI. If you're trying to ignore it and just say, "Oh, I'm not a tech person anymore. I'm not really into AI." You're not going to have a job. I don't think 3 to 5 years from now. It's going to be like saying, "I'm not into the internet. I don't really use a computer." Or I don't use email now. It's like just not possible. But what do you see if you looked out to 2030? What do you think the shape of work or the business community is?
I think the human element's never going away because people do business with people. I see all these people trying to come up with chatbot avatars and stuff like that. And that's cool. It's good to see AI images of yourself, but people still want to interact with people. So although you may see like the occasional voicemail that may pop up with an AI avatar, or maybe one that's going to mimic your movements when you're doing a Zoom podcast or anything like that. But you still have to have people involved because AI is only able to do so much. So I think probably in 2030, I think it'll probably be more of a world closer to what we talked about earlier with Star Trek, where you've just got AI and I think it'll more be a mesh of generative AI and conversational AI. So you'll be able to see your Google and your Amazon devices. You'll be able to interact with them like normal people. Right now with, say, Siri or with Google or with Amazon, you can only ask it one question and then maybe it'll generate an answer. But what we want in our world is to be able to have technology to do analogy what you said, that kind of wraps around us like a body of body of armor, and be able to help us get to the next task. If you want say AI to help you with your social media posts, you're talking to it rather than having to type that information out, and you can just have those conversations. Same thing with at home. If you've got specific tasks to do around the house, you have an AI chatbot that's helping you out every step of the way, rather than you having to put so much of your own input when you're doing these tasks. So that's what I see. I don't see people going anywhere. I just see more jobs, obviously, that will be created because of AI, as opposed to people being replaced with AI.
Yeah, I think a lot of that makes sense to me. I do think there will be some jobs like we've seen where there'll be a split. There'll be just some jobs that are just better done by robots and that people don't really want to do in the first place. And so a lot of the physical dangers or a lot of repetitive tasks that humans are not really great at, a lot of data crunching and things that are just impossible for humans to do. We'll see all of that taken over. And then there's some human aspects and human interaction and sales and community and parties and stuff that you don't want an AI avatar attending, Christmas dinner for you. You want to go
right.
So
I
think those are inherently human. Although sometimes we would like to send a surrogate. Yeah, I'm with you. All right. How can you help us, or how can we help you? I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Well, I can help everyone out there. Just visit my website, burtonkelso.com. I've got tips and tricks and all sorts of goodies to help you get more from the technology in your life. Because my goal with technology is to open up people to a whole new world of ideas and experiences when they deal with their gadgets and their devices. I love technology, and I've read all the manuals. Believe it or not, they're digital now, but yeah, I still take the time to read them every now and then. But my goal is to make technology fun, safe, and easy to use for everyone.
I love it. Great stuff. Again, the website is Burton Kelso. On LinkedIn, and check out his TEDx talks. A lot of great stuff there. If you need a technology expert or a breakout speaker, Burton is your man. Until next time, if you need human first AI marketing, go to avenue9.com. You can certainly reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. Good luck. Keep going, everybody. Have fun.